Andre the Beast. Andre the Beast. Change our lives. Andre the Beast. Yeah, 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 yeah. He tapped in at the break of dawn. Told us King keep pushing on.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show. Another exciting show, another exciting guest. Let me tell you where we're going today. Imagine, if you will, coming to the United States, and out of the blue, your life changes. First, you come here and you're like, wow, you hear about America, you visit all the little different places, but you wind up in California. Out of all the 50 places you could have visited here, you wind up in California. Turns out to be beautiful. You see the beach, you see the water, you see the mountains. Then all of a sudden, one day, you're in an accident. 3 years to be exact. Amputation is the result. Imagine, if you will, what that must be like to wake up and all of a sudden you have to really think deeply about life. And I think a lot of us, we don't really do that. We don't really take time to smell the roses because we get too caught up. Today on the show, we have a beautiful lady. I'm pretty sure you followed her on social media. And when I say that beast mindset, I got to give her flowers because I try to put myself in her shoes before she came on the show. And no matter how many times I try to do that, a part of me was like, I can probably do that. But that's your ego saying something because it really hasn't happened to you. So today she's going to tell us exactly how she kept that beast mindset to keep going when a lot of times when these things happen, you don't want to keep going. Let's welcome to the show all the way from Rome, Italy, Francesca P. What's up, baby girl?
Hi, how are you? I'm good.
I'm doing good. You know, such a beautiful story that I followed you on social media so much, and definitely you get my flowers for having that beast mindset. Before we get started, tell us a little bit about you first before we get into that dreadful day that changed your life.
Yeah, well, right now I'm 39, and a couple years ago I moved back to Rome. I'm from Italy, in Rome, but I decided to go to United States, in California, San Diego, to study, to learn the language, and to change my life, to start to work in another completely different country. I love the ocean, I love the beach, I love, the sun, so San Diego was a perfect fit for me. And I was working, I'm a personal trainer. I was actually, I'm not doing that right now, but I'm a kickboxer coach, boxing coach, personal trainer. So when I moved to San Diego, I was just doing that again. And I started working by myself as a personal trainer. And then I started to work for a non-profit organization called ABC Youth Foundation. Is an organization that help youth community that are in need, and specifically youth kids, through boxing. So they had to go very good to school to be able to do boxing, and I was there teaching, managing, because I studied business administration and sport management at the university. So I was also working with them as a manager and helping them to coordinate everything and organize these boxing events. So everything was perfect. I was happy as ever. And then exactly 3 years ago, because I love motorcycle, I love to ride bikes. So I got my own bike finally. So I switched from the car to have a motorcycle only, and I was using it to go to work. So I was doing the same way to go back and forth, work, home, work, almost every day. But one day something happened, and I got in this T-bone accident. So this T-bone accident ended up with me broken the femur in two parts, and I completely smashed my foot, left leg foot, and ankle also. And I not really broke, but three of my thoracic part of the spine collapsed. And so I ended up at the hospital, and for I can say only 10 days, because I have been talking with other people that they have my same accident, and most of them, they're there like for months. But for me, it was so hard to be in the hospital bed. I just wanted to go back home. So I did everything I could to try to, accelerate the process. And I begged the doctor to let me go home. So I think that that part was the most brave part of the whole story, because I was really in pain, especially with my back. I couldn't move at all, and I had to wear the brace for 3+ months after the accident. But when I was at the hospital, I always have been a very independent woman. And I like to do everything. I like to have my own strength to do things. Very rarely I ask help to others. So when I was at the hospital, I wasn't able to go to the bathroom and do nothing at all. And obviously I had my friends and family coming over to help me out. But it was so, stressful and so bad for my mind and for my body to not be able, to do the basic things that we do every day. We don't even think about it. And in that moment was just very hard. Everything was very hard. Even breathing was hard. So I think that gave me the strength and let's say motivation, to bring me back to life. And I started, to move more and more, and I asked for rehabilitation, for physiotherapy to help me out, because I had to learn again how just to stand from the bed and do a step forward, and then just using crutches and be on the wheelchair was really hard. So I had to learn how to go to the bathroom again by myself. It was a long process. So I started physiotherapy and re-education at the hospital, because I was like, I can't stay here no longer.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to like riding motorcycles. My first time on a motorcycle, it was an enjoyable feeling. And I was leaving the gym. I just bought a Ducati, and somebody pulled out in front of me. Boom. I hit the floor, hit the ground, slid. I got rid of that bike the next day. When you're in Rome, Italy, a motorcycle is more common than a car. When you came over here to the United States and get on your motorcycle and you're riding, what was the change reaction? I know it happened at the split of a second. Did you know how to really maneuver? Were you aware of that motorcycle accidents in the United States is completely different than a motorcycle accident in Rome and Italy and like the Dominican, where those motor vehicles are pretty more common than an actual car?
Yeah, that's right. I think that's the reason why, because here is, well, in California, specifically in San Diego, there's the roads are way wider and bigger than here. So I guess here we have a lot of traffic, a lot of crazy people. You you're always aware of everything, looking everywhere. But now they have been already 4 years that I was in San Diego before getting my bike. And I was like, getting used to it. The people are more respectful on the street. It seems like crazy maybe for you, but coming from Italy, I know that in San Diego, people are more respectful. The streets are bigger. And I was like, okay, I have way more, space to go around. There is, I don't know how you say, I don't have to think about danger so much as in Italy, and traffic and people not respecting the rules. So I guess I was like more soft in riding. I was like less conscious about, you know, accidents or crazy people that, again, you know, that can always happens. And so when I had my accident, it was like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and there was nobody around, and I was on the straight road, no traffic light, no stop for me. I didn't have to think about nothing, just riding and go forward. You know, with the helmet, your peripheral vision is not really, you know, good. You're just looking straight. And this car has a stop. This car has a stop, but I couldn't see it because when I was like in the accident point, she hit me and I couldn't see her. I couldn't see her because she has a stop, and then I don't know how to explain that because I saw a video. I saw a recorded video from a building that was in front of the point where I had the accident. So it was like very strange. I was just riding, and then this car stopped it, and then start over again while in the same moment I was passing. And so her acceleration hit me. But she was like in the middle of the street doing nothing. Like I don't know what she was thinking, but this woman has 80 years old. So very old woman. And I'm like, maybe she couldn't drive, or I don't know, she shouldn't drive. And so yeah, when you're used to a very chaotic kind of city, and then you move in another completely different one, I think you change the perspective how you drive.
Now, was it the accident just between you and her, that she kept accelerating you and driving you in the motorcycle down the road? Because if she just going on full speed, she couldn't just completely stop at 80 years old. I assume you was I assume you was being dragged to some extent along with the motorcycle.
Because the thing was that the street where I was riding was a very wide, like 4 lane, like 2 on a way, 2 on another way lane, like 4 huge lanes. And my road was an up and down, a lot of, you know, up downhill, very big one. So I guess when I was going from the top to down, she couldn't see me. And she started the car again because she has a stop. And she was like looking to pass, but she didn't see me. And I was just going straight. And then she moved it again, and then she cut me. So it was very strange, but I flew off the bike for a couple times, and I was lucky there were no parked car, no poles, nothing, because otherwise I couldn't hit them as well, because I found myself at the very edge of the street, next to the sidewalk, and then the motorcycle just flipped away in another direction. And then in that moment, I literally felt the car in my leg. I felt I was like squeezed between the car and the motorcycle. The impact was very hard. And so I felt I broke the leg, but I couldn't ever imagine to lose a foot.
Now, it's a good thing you had your helmet on. I'm pretty sure they said if you didn't,
I had a jacket also.
Yeah, if you didn't have the helmet,
I had a jacket, I had a helmet. Yeah.
What did they tell you had you not had that on? What might have been the end result?
If I didn't have the helmet on?
Yeah.
Oh, I probably could die. Yes, for sure. Because the helmet was all broken and smashed on one side. Yeah.
Wow.
I could die, but it was my fault. I can admit it was my fault because I had like a regular shoes, because I was coming from the gym. I just finished to teaching a boxing class, and I was coming back home with my leggings and shoes, tennis shoes, and fortunately with the jacket and the gloves. But without the boots, you can't save it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me go here. Now I'm reliving when I fell off my bike, and it was sort of the same situation. When you go off of those bikes, you don't know where you're going to end up, because that impact will just make you keep going and keep going. Now, let me go here. When you get to the hospital, you're conscious, I take it, when you get to the hospital, correct?
So I was conscious the whole time until the ambulance came. And then they were trying to get because the femur is broken, and I ended up holding my leg here on my chest because the bone was broken. Mm-hmm. So and I was like this, and they were trying to get my jacket off. And I was screaming. I was like, no, just cut it off. And finally they cut it off. And then when, one time on the ambulance, I think they shot me, they gave me, pain medication, and I was fine. I was like, okay, now my leg is straight. And then I passed out, and I woke up because from the ambulance to the hospital, they had to change the bed. So I remembered that part, and then completely blackout, because the first surgery was on the femur. So I went straight to the surgery room for the femur. I still have my foot. And the day after I woke up, I lost so much blood, I was white. The day after I woke up, and the doctor came and said, you had to amputate your foot. And I was like, what? First of all, I wasn't me with all the medication, just the first surgery, right after the accident. It was so crazy. Everything was really crazy because I was by myself. My family's in Italy. They don't know anything about it. And I had to make this huge, important decision for my life. Right. And the doctor said, I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't say, because you had to sign for the surgery, to get the surgery. So I was like, I cannot sign. And the whole day I was in pain, but I couldn't move my toes. So when the doctor came again, I was like, but why I had to amputate my foot? I can move my toes. Yes, It's painful, but I can move them. Mm-hmm. And he was like, because, the nerves and this stuff, the nerves are connected, and your blood vessels are connected, but your bones are gone. It's impossible to get surgery, and you make your own bones.
Yeah. So you didn't have a choice. I was just thinking, and I'm like, you don't have anything down there for the foot to really be attached to send signals to the other part of your extremity.
No, the signals was fine, actually. Everything was, the signals are fine, because I feel pain, I can move my toes. Really? But the ankles, and then the doctor came with the pictures that was very horror movie, splatter pictures of my foot, where I'm like, okay, now I understand what you mean. There is no way I can get my foot back. And so then I signed the amputation.
How long did it take you to really? Did they give you some time? I know it had to be done, but before you signed that paper, did they just say, "Look, let's give you some"? They just went right on in and said, "Sign it, let's go."
One day, because I understood that if I was waiting more time just to think about it, maybe they couldn't save, maybe I could get infections, or it could be very, very worse, and maybe I could, lose my knee as well. So I was like, okay, let's do it. This is what they said, but they are the doctor, and in that situation, you cannot really do your research. You can't ask to ChatGPT or stuff like that. It has to be quick. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I was alone, so.
How long did it take for your family to come to your assistance?
Fortunately, not that much. I guess like they came there like at the fourth day I was on the hospital, just because it was still like the end of the COVID kind of time where you couldn't travel flying without the vaccination card, and they didn't get it. They didn't get it, the vaccination, so it was very hard for them to travel. But then, fortunately, they opened up the doors, and then so that's why I had to wait for 4 days. But at the fourth, they were already there.
Man, you know what? Hey, you definitely got a beast mindset because you're in the hospital, amputated leg, down your foot, and you're doing this alone. I couldn't even begin to imagine what that must be like for you. Like I said, here's another thing of roses because I think that's awesome. It's sad that you lost your had to get amputated, but I mean, let me go here. What was your emotions like? What was your mental state really like? I know it's one thing to be in survival mode, but there's another thing to say, excuse my French, what the fuck just happened? What just happened? What was your mental state like now? Now this is called trial under fire. And I know it's difficult to talk about it, and I'm sorry for that, but I want the viewers to walk in your shoes. I used to be a trainer. I did everything you did, but now it's not saying you can't go back and do it again. But now that's not even on your plate. Now you don't have a support cast there. They're far away. You just been told this. Now you're told this. What was going through your head? Seriously, at this point.
I think this is the crazy part of the story, because then I started to have friends coming over, because obviously when I woke up, I started to send messages, and a couple of friends, they start to come over, and I hated to see them like crying or super worried, or because I was alive. So for me, I was alive. And yes, I had the surgery on my femur, and fortunately, fortunately, the spine were all just collapsed. So I was still able, to move and eventually to walk. So I wasn't paralyzed for life. So that thing was already so important to me, that I was alive, and with the time I could walk again eventually with a prosthetic leg or whatever other with other devices, but I wasn't paralyzed. So for me that part was already so important. So when they came to visit me and they were like sad or just trying to cry or whatever, I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm okay. I was like, I'm okay. I'm here. I'm alive. Let's talk about it. And just give me, a little bit of your company. Let's chat a little bit. Let's just help me out. Don't think about the pain. And let's see what can we do for my future. So I was more worried for them, because in that moment I knew that I need help. And the same things happened with my parents when they came. They were like terrified. They were in shock. Everybody were in shock. And I was so strong to try to normalize the things and say, okay, now you guys are coming over here because I need help. I need a serious help. So if you're crying and if you're sad and you're like too anxious, you transmit the anxiety to me, the depression to me, and you're not helpful. So I need you to help me right now. And so that gave the strength to them as well. And fortunately, they listened, and we could collaborate together. So I think at that stage, in that moment, I completely skipped the sad part, because I was needed help. I was needed strength from the whole environment. And the doctor and the nurse, they were all super nice. I had around me a very good team So I'm grateful. And then again, the only very bad part was the pain on my chest. There was a reflection on the pain of my spine. I couldn't move and I cried so much. Like the first 5 days were the most painful of my life. They were really painful because they had to wash me and I was like that they were moving me, and I was just, every millisecond of movement was a huge pain in my brain. And so that was very hard for me. But then when I start to feel a little bit better, because obviously also the medications, I immediately asked for a rehab. I was like, where are my physiotherapists? Because, it was, I don't, say, it would be the worst things to say to anybody, to be on the bed like that. You cannot do anything by your own. You cannot go to the bathroom, so you had to do everything on the bed, and they had to clean you, and it was so embarrassing. Some of the nurses were guys, were men, and it was like, for a woman, that part was really hard for me. That part was really hard, so hard that I was like, I cannot do it another day, and I don't want to feel it like that for another day. So please teach me how to go to the bathroom by myself, because I need to go. And it wasn't easy because of all the medication. So the first time I just stand to the bed, I had like strong dizziness and headaches and nausea, like strong nausea. So I had to go back to the bed, to lay down on my bed, and then start again, trying it again the day after. And the day after, I did a little bit of step forward. So from sitting on the bed, I could put the foot on the ground, and then going to the bed again. So just, laying down and then stand up, laying down and stand up. So I'm not going to the bathroom still, but at least I could move and I could feel a little bit better on my brain, because it was very, very hard with all the medications. And then finally they got me the walker. So with the walker and a little bit of assistance, because I'm attached to the machines, I have a nerve pain block on my arm. So I'm attached to the machines, and with the walker, slowly I could go finally to the bathroom. And then they start to teach me how to walk. So we went out to the hospital room, and we start to walk a little bit. And then we went to another room. It was like a bathroom, a big bathroom with a bath. So they taught me how to go on the bath. So from the wheelchair to the bath, and from the wheelchair to the toilet. So I had to start over for everything.
Francesca, let me ask you a question without getting too personal here. As you learning these things, these new tasks to life, the amputation had already taken place, correct?
Yeah, at that point I was already amputated, because I couldn't move with my broken foot.
How difficult was that transition to learn how to navigate with a prosthetic device now? Because I would think that it would be hard for the brain not to somewhat simulate that there was once something there. How difficult was it for you to adjust your mind to the new prosthetic device that you have? And what was the most difficult part about that? Because the mind doesn't want to register that the lower part isn't there anymore.
Okay, so I just want to say something Previous my accident, I was an athlete. I was a full kickboxing athlete still since in Italy. Then when I get back to when I moved to San Diego, I competed in Muay Thai as well. So I always been very active in my life. So when you're in the ring, you get punched, you get kicked, you go down, and you stand up again. I broke my nose in my life. I broke ligaments, and I always came back. So I can say probably for me it was slightly easier than for other people to get used to the prosthetic leg, because once I came back home, I started to train by myself again. I started to exercise. I invited friends, because I had a full gym I had a little home with a yard, and I had a lot of equipment, and I started using resistance bands, and I started to do exercises, to get back in the shape a little bit, to get back, to move a little bit, and get back to my usual strength. And so I exercised so much. But the first prosthetic leg, you can get it 4 or 5 months after the amputation. You cannot get it right after, because your stump now is swollen, is huge. You have stitches. I still have stitching on, the scars, and it's very swollen. It will be so painful on a bone that just been cut. And so you have to wait for the healing part. And so during this time, you're right, during this time, my brain thought that the foot is still there. The brain thinks that your foot is still there. So for 2 times, I just regular stand up from the chair in my kitchen, and I fall off, because I thought that the foot was there, and it was so painful. So yeah, you have a phantom pains. You have also weird feelings around. You cannot scratch your skin. You feel like a lot of sometimes burning, sometimes cold stuff. It's like just weird things that you cannot even ever imagine if you are not amputated. You cannot describe, like a very weird feelings, and because the brain still push the signals on the foot, but that doesn't recognize that your foot is gone. And it takes time to recovery. It takes time to heal. Fortunately, because, I was a trainer, I had a lot of other trainers, friends, and amazing people. I was in pain with this phantom. They were so annoying, like the whole night I couldn't sleep, and they were never stopped. So I called these friends of mine, and we did an hypnosis section, actually 2 sessions of hypnosis, because partial hypnosis was like 50%. I was aware, and 50% I was just like on the other side. And with her, she helped me a lot, because we were just teaching to the brain and just like explain to the brain to accept the fact that the foot wasn't there, because you had to accept it yourself. Otherwise the brain still think about it, and you feel the phantoms. Mm-hmm. And so now finally also these issues is gone. I got it. I don't feel phantom pains anymore. And there are 4 to 5 months, and I want to walk, because I was only, my parents were like pulling on the wheelchair, and I was so scared to walk with the crutches. I don't trust the crutches. And I was like, okay, now I'm ready for the first prosthetic leg. So I contact them. And finally, I get it. Not right away, because you had to measure your stump. You had to do a lot of, visits before get it. And they explain you how the prosthetic legs works. And all the process after the prosthetic legs is not easy as well, because I couldn't use it only like maybe 5 to 10 minutes per day, because it's painful. So yeah, you have the prosthetic leg, but you pushing, you completely, holding yourself. So your bones is inside this socket, and it's painful. So you use the crutches again to don't put all the weights on it. You use the walker, and it's very graduated. It's like step by step, trying to go against the pain every day to try to get better. And this is just because I think it's my fighter kind of personality, because I always, been a fighter in my life. And I always touch also to my clients to be strong and resilient. And that's, I think that helped me a lot to go over all these, process.
How long did before we wrap up, I know this, and once again, let me say thank you for taking time out to come and share such a beautiful story. My degree is exercise science, the same as yours. I can imagine trying to put all that bare weight, especially at the end of the what you call the stump, trying to bear all that weight. So let me go here with this. You're now back into training somewhat. I see a lot of things that you're doing. My hat's off to you once again. How long did it take you to get to the point that instead of having that garment on, that prosthetic leg on for 5 minutes, how were you able to actually make it a part of you and deal with that? Because I'm pretty sure some people, it's not like having an arm prosthetic. You're putting gravitational pull on that leg. That prosthetic leg has to either be titanium or something that can withstand that kind of everyday pressure. How were you able to do that to manage pain?
Oh, I still cannot. So it takes, I want to say it takes 1 year.
Okay.
Because the first year was pretty painful. I had to adjust a lot of things. You have a suspension sleeve. It's like a knee brace, very strong. They help you to hold everything together. I have like soft patch, soft like sponge on the bottom to trying to get less pain on the bone directly inside the socket. I tried everything, but it's still pretty painful. It's still, obviously at the beginning was way more because you have to used to it a little bit. And at the beginning, the prosthetic leg is heavy. And then, but I think it will finish in another year. So I think from the amputation to 4 years, because this is the things. I had the strong muscles on my leg, so also my calf was very big. And when you're not using your foot and so your ankle, you're not stimulating the calf anymore. You cannot stimulate the calf anymore unless you're doing like just thinking about it. I can contract my, I can move my calf a little bit. But you're not doing it every day just while walking. So you cannot really stimulate that. And so you're losing the muscles, and then your leg is a real stump. Yeah, like your leg is so small. So you have to change the socket. You have to change the prosthetic leg every month, so almost every month. And I'm still losing a volume a little bit. My leg is not done. So I would say another year. So 4 years after the amputation is evolving, because again, your stump shrink down. And, but yeah, the first year was very painful, but I'm still in the process to always try to work with my prosthetists and work with the medicals, with the doctor to try to find a solution to feel more comfortable. Because for me, it's still a little bit painful. After I walk for a little bit, if I'm walking all day or after the workout, I had to take the legs off. I have to let it breathe my leg. I had to leave it alone, put the eyes on, because it's still painful. And then depends on the weather, when it's hot, when it's cold, you change the volume, and it is a lot. There is a completely life-changing, and most of the time is exhausting, because you just want to be normal with your foot, but yeah.
My last question to you.
Yeah.
What's your mental health like right now? I mean, people need to understand 3 years ago, but a lot of that moving forward was a lot of decision making, a lot of mental preparation, a lot of trial and error, a lot of hit and miss, a lot of reevaluating your your exercise methods, because naturally, like you said, you're still losing volume of your upper quads. You know, this is a change reaction that has to take place every single day of your life now. I'm pretty sure it will get better, but it still needs management. That's a lot on you mentally. What's your mental state like? As my last question at this point.
At this point, I don't know. I don't know because I skipped so many steps. Right. I mean, during the accident, because I wanted to be strong and I kind of forced myself a little bit. I didn't want to go in depression. So yeah, forcing myself at the beginning didn't give me much time to just really think about it, what was happening. And my life is still very active, so I'm trying to keep myself super active. I love to travel, so just a few months ago I came back from 13 months around the world where I visited 25 countries, and I wanted to do it. It was really tough and completely alone with these prosthetic legs. And I wanted to see the world. So at this point, I decided I don't want to teach anymore because I was a kickboxer coach. So how can I teach now? I don't feel myself complete to teach this kind of sports. So I decided to travel, and traveling helped me a lot. But I don't think I'm completely fine, obviously, because I have my up and down. And where I don't feel comfortable in this new situation, obviously. But again, I don't like the idea to waste my life to waste time. And I'm trying to use this energy to help others. So if I can help other people that are passing through the same or other disease or similar problems, that is what makes me happy, in the sense that like, okay, I'm useful, like I can help somebody else, and then it's important. So that means that everything I'm doing has a value and is important to somebody else.
Wow. Thank you so much. You know what? I'm going to let you have the last word here. Leave the viewers with what keeps you going.
What keep me going? Mm-hmm. I think the idea of, because I'm disabled now, and before my accident, I had no idea. I never saw anybody with a prosthetic leg. Sounds crazy, but you cannot really give any attention to that if you're not into it. Mm-hmm. And I think I really would like to normalize any other disabilities in any country. And I'm trying, like I'm doing a modeling now. I'm doing a model. So I'm trying to show the world that yes, I am disabled, but the word disability is wrong, because we are still able to do stuff in a different way. As anybody else is different, we are different from each other. So people on wheelchair, people that are blind, people that are like they were born without a limb, but we are still part of the same world, the same society. Mm-hmm. So while I was traveling the world, I found out that some countries are super happy with everything. They don't judge. They don't see you as a difference. They don't see you as a strange person, but they just like love you as you are. Some other countries are completely different, like completely the opposite. Like they were staring on me without even asking anything, without even asking if I was needing help. And even here in Rome, we are still a lot of barriers, steps, stairs. The roads are not like, there are not good roads, or there are not elevators, or whatever difficulty we have. We shouldn't. We pay taxes, we should have everything for everybody, for any type, even in modeling. The models are not like only tall and skinny. Everybody dress up. And so I would like to normalize that. We are all beautiful in a different way. And so that's why it pushed me on doing the model right now. I'm trying to do advocacy of fashions, and working with schools, trying to teach this type of topic to the kids, to the young age and teenagers, because they need to know what disability is about, and they don't have to ask like questions that just like, oh, what is that? Why she's wearing that? What's happening? Or are you okay? Are you in pain? Like, do you need help? Like with the sadness? We're not sad. Why you have to be sad? Because they don't know. Because
Right.
the world is not aware.
And I like
So
the
that's my mission right now. Because I was like, I don't know what else to do. My
Okay.
strength, my resilience. Then now I want to share that, because this is what I do. This is what I do very good.
Francesca, thank you so much. How can the viewers follow you on social media?
Yeah, my social media. Okay, Miss. So our Instagram, I have Miss dot Italia dot 39. Is an amputee queen on YouTube, and yeah, this is it. My social media, because I have Facebook, Francesca PT, and yeah, but I'm always on YouTube and Instagram. On YouTube, I have a channel where I explain how prosthetic legs works, and our difficulties, and how to overcome challenges and issues in this world.
Okay, sounds great. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe, like, share, follow. All it takes is one click of that button to make a difference in your life or change somebody else's. Francesca, thank you so much for taking time to come on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, like
Thank you.
always, this has been another, and I do mean another, exciting episode of the Andre, the Beast, Creighton Show.
Andre the Beast. Andre the Beast. Change our lives. Andre the Beast.